Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Morning, Giordano. This is Joseph. I would like to ask you a question.
They're now, they're hot. All right, we're hot. All right, we're finally active here this morning. We're gonna get our meeting started right on time, and we have a quorum, so thank you everyone for attending. If I let you take it.
Okay, well, before we actually get to attendance, I'd like to introduce to everyone in the room our newest CORC member who was just yesterday, authorized yesterday, Mr. Chris Tompkins. Mr. Tompkins, I'd welcome you to greet everyone and give us a quick overview. Let us know who you are.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I'm a 30-year veteran of the military. After getting out of service in 2015, I started serving as a JROTC instructor in high school, St. Pete, Tampa area. Then I've gone on to work in ROTC on the college level as a professor, teaching leadership, and I've taught at the University of South Florida. I've taught at Florida Atlantic University. Also, I've taught at Palm Beach downtown in West Palm, PBA. So my core of my research was in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and in education, in educational policy, leadership, and management. So I come with an open mind. I come to understand the workings of this group, and hopefully I can add some benefit to our schools and our projects that we have in the community. Thank you.
All right. Very nice. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, we will start now with attendance. Dorothy, please.
Dorothy Banashevsky, Facilities Construction.
David Rose, Facilities Construction.
Marquise Canyon, Facilities Construction.
Michael Guida, Cork.
Holly Hahn, Office of the General Counsel.
Michael Tubiolo, Facilities Construction.
David Dolan, Facilities Management.
David Pulse report.
Barbara Myers, Construction Purchasing.
Dr. Christopher Tompkins,
Julie?
Announce yourself.
That's
Juliana Montoya, Project Coordinator, the district.
Julie Edwards, DLR Group.
John Levinson, Rail Enterprises, representing Ziskovich Architects.
Paul Needler, Aegis Development.
Mario Rodriguez, that group.
Bob Bliss, Office of Inspector General.
Park Road Facilities Construction.
Ted Kava, Corp Construction.
Ben Guanella, Portal Construction.
Okay, go ahead and do online for us. Lucky.
Bruce Alexander,
Present. Good morning, everyone.
Brent Makabu.
Did you want to say that one again?
Brent Makabu. Come back. John Cheshire,
Present.
Kevin Wilkinson,
President, good morning.
Tom Berger,
Here.
Virginia Ferris,
Here.
Announce Joe Sanchez.
She's on. She's.
and okay,
I am here.
and Mr. Sanchez is also on.
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning.
And our board member will be here momentarily. She indicated she will be in shortly.
Okay.
Did you see the chat message that came up?
Yes.
Yes, that France had identified that she is present. Thank you.
Okay, Chairman's report. I don't have anything except my beloved Seminole Ridge construction program tonight is top 5 finalists for Education Program of the Year for the Palm Beach Illustrated magazine. So
Good luck.
see where that goes.
Excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, anyone with a conflict of interest today for anything we're going to review or has been approached by any lobbyists? Right, hearing none. Any changes to the agenda by anyone? Agenda is accepted. Public comments. General comments from the public. Seeing none. Get to the consent agenda. Here we go. FC1.
Gelfand.
Okay. FC2. I wanted that pulled. Anyone else FC2?
Who is that pulled that? Was that you?
I did. Yes, I did.
All right.
FC3?
Gelfand did also.
You wanted FC2, Michael?
FC1.
Right, I got that. FC2, anyone with FC2? I pulled that one. FC3,
Gelfand.
PC1,
FC4.
sorry, missed that. FC4,
Gelfand.
okay. Trying to get through the list quickly. PC1. PC2. PC3,
PC3, Cheshire.
okay? And PC4.
Move items not pulled to go forward.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay. And
Yes, who's it? David, are you running the list or?
Okay, go ahead and call the members, please.
Bruce Alexander,
Yes.
David Porter,
Yes.
Franz Makabu,
Yes.
John Cheshire,
Yes.
Kevin Wilkinson,
Yes.
Michael Guida,
Yes.
Tom Berger,
Yes.
Virginia Ferris,
Yes.
Christopher Tompkins.
Yes.
Okay, Michael, you're up for FC1.
Oh, Michael. Go.
Did we get Mr.
Did we
Gill?
get Mr. Gelfand?
I don't think
David.
so.
Yeah. David.
I'm sorry, Michael Gelfand.
Yes.
All right, Michael, you're now up for FC1.
Northborough, item number 3. What's the plan for this school? I mean, we're spending more money on a structure that needs to be torn down.
That's true. So, we had a part of the FCA project, facility renewal is to, yes, upgrade that facility. There's one building that's a historic old building that's on site.
We know about it well.
Yeah.
Who said there was a history of him?
So once we got into that, we figured that we really need to look at the structural integrity of the building to see what kind of money we really need to spend to see if it's worthwhile to keep and what we would need to do to keep it maintained. So this assessment will allow us to understand the structural integrity of the building. And that's what that's for.
Do you want to explain the funds available it's coming from?
Yeah, we do have some money that we were granted from the city for some hotel tax, I believe it was from.
Development fees. Forgive me, I'm saying, is it TDA or
TDR.
fees associated with the city grants us development rights for Dreyfus. And in doing so, we received these funds and they are to be allocated to historic improvements of historic facilities. And we currently have slated money towards that money slated towards Dreyfus, towards Northborough, and at this point, Jupiter Elementary, the auditorium there. These are historic facilities.
We looked back through the files because there were studies done on Northborough.
There were, they were done, we need to reassess it based on age and that, so that's really the issue.
So they'll kind of start from those reports saying, okay, here's what they found and what's changed.
And
Exactly.
has it graded from that?
Didn't we also do that for Jupiter?
We did, and actually, as you said, there's also quite a history, even for me in the last 8 years, when it comes back up. People want to raise money to try to enhance or rehabilitate that space, reconstitute it. And we're there now. We have starting point on that as well.
Because for Jupiter, didn't we leave it as just an air-conditioned shell that was not being used?
That is correct. And it is, and it's just got dumping air in from a unit above.
Right.
No ductwork or anything.
We're also considering what the use of Northborough is right now, that building. We're considering some admin space, ancillary space as a potential use for that. So,
As it was 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mr. Gilfand's good.
Michael,
So let's keep Jupiter off because I remember we had quite a contentious meeting about that some time ago. But with Northborough, and I appreciate the city of West Palm being the source of funds, but I just don't want to spend funds because we have them. What is so the program, as I just heard, is for administrative offices there?
Ancillary. Yes, sir.
And as I recall, it has a very small footprint.
Yes.
And is that really suitable for administrative offices? Let me put it this way. What is being administered by the anticipated administrative offices?
It will be anticipated to be the North Region, the North Superintendent, that region's office administrative staff, which is relatively small. And not to go into the weeds, but they've been pushed around to lots of different places. They've been at Lincoln's second floor. They're currently partially residing at the new Washington Elementary in vacant spaces. So that's not an uncommon occurrence that the North region gets pushed around to different locations. We are trying to establish a central home for the administrative staff. That building in its current location is well suited for an administrative office, despite it being on an academic campus, because it's a distance away from a lot of the other activities.
So, how large is the staff of the administrative, North administrative staff?
Say, I'm speculating exactly, but I think it's somewhere in the 8 or 9 person range.
Now, as I recall, that building does not have a second floor, or it has a stairway.
It does. No, it has a second floor.
Yeah, that's
It's 2-story.
It was all right. So, and what is the square footage, the footprint inside?
All right, has it been looked at that if that office is moved in there, it's got enough space?
It does.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know all the details offhand. I don't have them memorized.
Yeah, and my apologies, just like Michael, I'm not 100% sure on the footprint. I know, as you said, it's a relatively small footprint. Maybe it's 1,000 square feet or something along those lines. I don't know exactly what the number is.
Does that office get visitors?
On occasion, it can. That's the North region would receive parent visitors. They try to do them. They try to do some of their parent visits at schools, usually the school associated with that student. But on occasion, they may do assessments and other interviews at their administrative offices.
And for the second floor, are we required to make that ADA accessible?
So not necessarily. Depending on the function of your spaces, we're looking at two different options. One of the options is if you have essentially the same uses on the first floor, you do the second. For instance, if you have offices on the first floor, offices on the second, you can assign anybody with a need to the first floor and not have to have an elevator to the second floor. So that's an option that we're pursuing, but we haven't gotten through the details yet. Right now, we're just focused on the structural integrity of the building, but we have looked at enough that there's a potential there to not need an elevator. There is a location where an elevator was planned. I think it was to happen in the future, or there was a planned area for an elevator. We have some plans of how to put an elevator in there from old, but we may not need that. We're looking to save some money there if we can.
And with reference to access by the public to this space, is this going to be within the fenced so-called security perimeter of that school?
It is. The parking lot that is open, meaning there's always one that's the exempt gate. That's where staff visitors can come in. That space is also directly adjacent to that building, and that building will be, I'll say, fenced off from the rest of the campus.
And we're at this point, we're like I said, we're very early on in the process. Our first step is to look at the structural integrity of the building. Our next step is to really look at all of our different options for how we're going to use it. One of the options that we've come up with was the North region. We may look at something that suits the school. We may look at different options. So
Sure.
We're not like finalized with the planning on it yet. We're early on. So that's why we don't have a ton of answers. We've done some research, but we don't know in the end exactly how we're going to use the space.
So for my fellow committee members that are relatively new, I think we last looked at Northborough about 6 or 7 years ago, and the chair is absolutely correct. There were studies at that time. I'd ask that before any monies be spent further, that those studies be looked at very carefully as to the uses. I've been very, shall I say, careful about these historical structures. I was against any effort for Boca Elementary and then for Jupiter on those spaces, because every time we touch them, it ends up in a million plus overrun. Lake Park is just one example of that. I'm not going to be in favor of this one because of what we've already been through on it, but be that as it may. With reference to, see here, the West Boynton number 8, the electrical upgrades. How much of that was for the security camera? Or alternatively, how much was for the display case? Seems a lot of money for both of those put together.
You guys have that data?
I don't have it readily available. I can get that.
All right, if we want to pass on that one. Next, with reference to number 11, Highlands re-roofing. Was there a reason why that wasn't caught as part of the initial evaluation?
This area is, if you look at the aerial, it's a kind of a unique roof that's off to the side. It's connecting two buildings, but it's not really the same roof as everything else. So I'm assumption that that's why it was missed. And when we took another look at it, we have the roofer out there. It needed to be done. It made sense to go ahead and do it. But it was clear that they did not include it in the design of the drawings, and they did not include it in the bid, the initial bid.
Would that be a design omission then?
No, it's a scope change to that project.
And then on 12, what were the police changes?
Which one is that?
This is historic Roosevelt.
Utility and security replacement.
Joseph, are you there?
Going to paraphrase whoever asked the questions. I saw the memo this morning. I mean, this is almost death by 1,000 cuts.
Ben, I believe on that, and that was additional time because of the time extension. We needed security measures for a little bit longer. Is that correct? Do you know?
No, this was, I believe, final adjustments to some security camera layouts and card access adjustments that were made.
Okay.
Pull it up real fast.
And these are just added beyond the allowance amount. Okay.
Yeah, the allowance is built into the contract, anticipating some adjustments. This one exceeded the allowance.
Anything else, Michael?
No, I'm going to vote against this agenda item. So, I don't need to hear any of the other responses.
Move to go forward.
In a second?
Hold on a second.
Second by Mike Guida. Any further comments, questions?
I'm just curious what Michael's objection is in general.
Primarily, it's Northborough.
Okay.
We've been through this.
No. I just wanted to know if it was only that one.
And Michael, my thought on Northborough is that, regardless of what we do with the building, it needs a new current assessment. I mean, you would do the same thing for your clients that want to go in and use a building and they don't know what they want to use it for. You're going to tell them you need an assessment first to figure out if the AC works, or the walls falling down, or the windows leaking. You kind of have to do that first, like getting an x-ray before the doctor cuts you open.
Yeah, but the proctologist has already been up there twice.
Yeah, that was 8 years ago. Environment.
And yeah, but it hasn't gotten any better with time. It's not wine.
I understand that. That's why we need a new assessment to see how much worse has it gotten.
Well,
That's fine. You're welcome to your thing.
thank
All right,
you.
we've had a first and a second and no further comments. So staff polls, please.
Bruce Alexander,
Yes.
David Porter,
Yes.
Franz Makaboom,
Yes.
John Cheshire,
Yes.
Kevin Wilkinson,
Yes.
Michael Gelfand,
No,
Michael Guida,
Yes.
Tom Berger,
Yes.
Virginia Ferris,
Yes.
Christopher Tompkins.
Yes.
Michael, you want to briefly give staff your reason for dissenting?
Northborough, we've evaluated this a number of times in the past. It has been found wanting, and passage of time is not going to improve the options.
Thank you. All right, FC2, I pulled that, kind of goes along with FC3 for Garcia High School. I'm kind of reading the story between the lines, and I could be wrong. It seems like we didn't allow the architect enough time to get the drawings done correctly the first time, because there were lots and lots of changes. The entire softball field grading was off in elevations and had to be regraded. That's just one item. And then we didn't allow enough time for construction. I've been on this committee 24 years now. I can't remember change orders this late coming into school. It's now been occupied for 2 years. There are significant change orders for real things that changed along the way. So I'm just looking at it as a process thing for future to say, all right, maybe we just, just reassess and get this right the first time instead of having all sorts of field changes that were necessary either from lack of drawing coordination, drawing errors. And again, if the architect didn't have enough time, they're not all going to be coordinated.
I'll let Michael get to some of the details, but I don't disagree with you on the sense that this was a high pressure school needed to get done. And not that I'm trying to defend, but it was in fact our first high school in 20 some odd years. And I think there were a lot of gained knowledge from the last high schools that were built that, we lost all that talent, all that knowledge base. So I think that some of the components that we may have missed or have come upon later in the design were a function of us as a school district saying, oh, you know what, we missed this, or, oh, yes, there might have been some shortcomings on the design. But I also think that it was a little bit of our loss, our knowledge-based loss that we now feel a whole lot better. Next high school we build, we've gone through a lot of experience. So I'd like to think that going forward, we will do a better job, but we were short on time. There's no question about it. I feel like we did not give ourselves the ample runway. And I think that's also translated. I don't want to speak for Michael so much, but I think that has translated to a lot of our other projects that have come since, where we were originally anticipating, oh, it's only a 12 to 16 month process. And now for an elementary school, and now I think we have a different perspective on the time it takes to make it through a lot of the challenges, the lead up design, and ultimately, yes, the construction.
Well, yeah, a lot of those.
I think we have done that because if you look at Saddle View, I don't think we've had, I think we're done. I don't think there's any change order we're still going to be seeing on Saddle View,
There's a few,
except
but, yeah.
a couple of little ones. I mean, not 2 million worth. And that went smoothly. And the one we're going to do in Westlake is going to be a duplicate of Saddle View with some changes.
Yeah.
And so hopefully that's not on a compressed time frame. I think we just have to be mindful of that when we compress our timeframes, even though the board, the public, whatever says, we got to have it. Okay, well, be prepared. If you cut the time short, you're going to have extra charges.
We agree.
We agree. The work needs to be done, and whether you do it before you open or after the school opens, it's a lot easier to do it ahead of time when you have that time. We fully agree that if you have that time to do it, get your punch list done, get all the minor work done before the school moves in, it's the ideal situation.
Even West Riv that's currently in construction, you'll see in my assessments, that's the school where we initially thought, oh boy, we're going to try to crunch this and get it really tight. And it would have been a giant mess for us. We would have, both the architect and the contractor would have suffered for it. And it misses it by a year, but we feel like we've gotten a lot of the challenges uncovered and sorted out long before. So we're not coming up. I'm more worried about, as bad as the cost is, I'm more worried about not being able to open the school because we don't have ample time to get all the work done, all the equipment. And I think that's another component that we've improved upon.
And some of the effort here was pushed back because of the tight schedule. So there was a conscious effort that we're just pushing forward, getting the job done, and then we'll do the paperwork later. That's what you're seeing now. So because there's just limited staff on the project, you know.
My perspective on this committee, I know you're not doing it on purpose, but it's asking for permission, forgiveness rather than permission. So let's get it up front instead of saying, oh, by the way, here's a $2 million change order and, you know, we've already paid the contractor. The other issue and the question is, has the contractor been held back the $2 million change order? Have they been paid this amount or not?
Nope.
Oh my God. Why are they wanting to work for us anymore?
And yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And it, and to Michael's credit, and I say this with a great deal of admiration and respect for Michael, he's managed to come in, and while we have had that go, oh my gosh, we got to get it done kind of attitude in the past, the attitude has been, it's still that we got to go, get it done. But he's made everybody more accountable for what they're doing. Now that concept that you're talking about, the change orders, beg forgiveness as opposed to asking permission, is now no longer an acceptable behavior by staff across the board. It's no longer, well, okay, we just got to get the job done. So that has been a change in tenor from how we operate. So it's not, knock on wood, it's not going to change. But by and large, they understand the change orders have to happen immediately. And that'll go to some of our other discussions about, you know, the timeline to get change orders executed.
Okay. I didn't have anything else on FC2. Anyone else with FC2?
Move to go forward.
I think that's a first. Need a second? Somebody? Need a second.
Second.
All right, second by Tom Berger. Any other comments or questions? All right, staff, Paulus, please.
Bruce Alexander,
Yes.
David Porter,
Yes.
France Makabu,
Yes.
John Cheshire,
Yes.
Kevin Wilkinson,
Yes.
Lisa Revis,
I guess she said yes.
Michael Gelfand,
I'm only gonna say yes, get one yes vote, I think.
Michael Guida,
Yes.
Tom Berger,
Yes.
Virginia Ferris,
Yes.
Christopher Tompkins.
Yes.
Okay, FC3, Michael Gelfand.
So there was a comment regarding the pre-construction percentage, and there was apparently a continued disagreement between at least one member and staff. I'd like
That
them
was
to-
for PC3. It's PC3.
That's PC3, Danny.
Yeah.
You mean FC3?
FC3, Michael, I think that's PC3.
Oh, my apologies, and I'll wait for that one.
I'll put you down for that too, because Cheshire had pulled that. Okay,
Right.
All
So,
right, move
Michael,
to
you-
go forward.
yes. Okay, need a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mike Guida and Polis staff.
Bruce Alexander,
Yes.
David Porter,
Yes.
France Makabu,
Yes.
John Cheshire,
Yes.
Kevin Wilkinson,
Yes.
Lisa Revis, Michael Gelfand,
Yes.
Michael Guida,
Yes.
Tom Berger,
Yes.
Virginia Ferris,
Yes.
Christopher Tompkins.
Yes.
Okay,
We
FC4.
want to get
Oh,
Ms. Revis.
Revis, yes.
Lisa Revis,
Yes.
Thank you. Michael Gelfand, FC4. You're muted, Michael.
The cover sheet mentioned that this was for utilities, but the detail indicated that this was for data telephone information. Were water lines, electrical lines included in this or not?
I'm sorry, my apologies. Mr. Gelfand, can you outline that again? I didn't quite get it.
No problem. The description on the cover sheet talked about rerouting of existing utilities, including the parenthetical water. I presume electric was in there, and that's one of my questions. But the justification and backup did not appear to include water or electric.
I don't know offhand. I know for sure the fire alarm and intercom, because that was an issue, but and the electric and water, I'm not 100% sure on that. Is carry on to.
Yeah, if it isn't including what I'll refer to as hard utilities, I'd just like to hear from some other members of the committee as to the reasonableness of the expense. Recognizing that fire alarms are expensive all the time, but this just seems to be a very high amount for, what is it, 7 portables?
Gary.
I don't believe Gary is here today.
No, so this isn't, the existing campus has portables. Where we're moving the students to is an existing building. The utilities were routed through a different existing building. So building 2 is where the students are. We're actually, building 1 is the one that we're abandoning and taking the utilities out of and running them directly to building 2, which consequently will become building 1 in the future when we tear down building 2. So the students will move from the portables into this new building. That's the scope. And it is, so it's a lot of site work, a lot of digging, and a lot of work to do that.
I was okay with the numbers on that, Michael, because I know what's involved.
All righty. That's what I needed to hear then. Thank you.
All right, need a motion for FC4 to move forward.
Move to go forward.
Second.
Second by Tom Berger. Any other comments or questions? Staff?
Bruce Alexander,
Yes.
David Porter,
Yes.
Franz Makabu,
Yes.
John Cheshire,
Yes.
Kevin Wilkinson,
Yes.
Lisa Revis,
Yes.
Michael Gelfand,
Yes.
Michael Guida,
Yes.
Tom Berger,
Yes.
Virginia Farish,
Yes.
Christopher Tompkins.
Yes.
All right. Now, Michael Gelfand, you're on for PC3.
So there was a discussion with reference to the pre-construction percentage, and I don't fully understand it. So I'd like to hear from both sides, if you would, as to why 1% as opposed to a half of that is appropriate.
So on our CCNA projects, we have our contract states 1%. When we do an RFP, this one is, we negotiate that fee separately. Sometimes it comes out close to 1%. Sometimes it's less than 1%. Depends on how much work is involved with the pre-construction. In this one, we are doing a renovation of some of the buildings, which require some extensive work and a new building. There's a lot of factors that went into it. But we did get a complete breakdown of each phase and what they would be doing with the cost analysis of who would be doing that work. And this is where it ended up being negotiated. So there's other projects that we were negotiate, for instance, the one we just talked about, the new project out in Westlake where we were about 0.5%. So there's a lot of factors based on the scale of the project, the complexity of what needs to go into that pre-con services.
Well, and Westlake might have been 0.5% because it's a repeat use.
That's exactly what it was. He openly said that.
By the same contractor.
That's correct.
This is all brand new, ground up, existing conditions. And that tends to take a lot more manpower to come up with pricing.
And typically, even on this 1% of, you have to get to a substantially really expensive project to where the contractors actually don't lose a little bit of money on pre-con. When they do it correctly, they spend a lot of time with pre-con that frankly, they recover some of that back, obviously with the fee, but it's not a moneymaker for contractors, pre-con.
John Cheshire.
Yeah, I'm the one that had the original comment. I think the close to $560,000 pre-construction fee for a $56 million GMP or the 1% is actually outrageous. I went back and looked at a few other projects that we recently approved, pre-con fees. And for the members of the committee that don't realize this, but this project was done, I think last year. An RFP went out, a selection was made for Kaufman Lynn, and then the project was changed to a larger project, reconfigured a little bit. But Kaufman Lynn was actually under contract for pre-construction services for this project, and their pre-construction fee was $250,000. Now we're at $560,000 for this project. Yes, it was a smaller project with Kaufman Land, but I also want to go back and look at a few other projects. For instance, Sunset Palms Middle School, that was Moss. Their pre-construction fee on a $43 million project, not too far off of this one, $275,000, or half the fee. You go look at the transportation facility on Skis Road, that's a state. That's a $49 million project, and the fee there, pre-construction fee there is $361,000. That's 0.7%.
John, aren't they all?
If you look at Pirtle, who did Lake Worth High School, Dr. Garcia High School, that was a $76 million project versus this one, which is $56 million. And their fee was $450,000, 4.6%. So usually the higher the GMP, the lower the percentage of costs for the pre-construction services. Michael, it's you divide the pre-construction cost over the GMP and you come up with that percentage. And usually it's just used as a double check to see if the fee is reasonable. And the hourly breakdown is the first review. And if you could, and I also did that, I compared the hourly breakdown to the previous Kaufman Lynn pre-construction. Dorothy or David, if you can go to page 246 of the board item, that's the breakdown of the hourly number of hours.
Oh, just a minute, John. Click on the agenda. I thought it already pulled it. I thought I did too. Click on purchasing. Go down to PC3. And slide that over.
247.
Oh my gosh.
246.
Type in the number, yeah.
46. Exhibit C?
Yes.
Camera. Represent.
Is that 246, John, you said?
Yes.
Share screen, yeah. Not more than 1% full time. So they've seen it.
There you go. I looked at those and compared them, like I said, to the Kaufman land. And typically the hours that, or I'm sorry, the costs that were shown for like PMIS reporting is the first one. Typically the Kaufman land was maybe half the cost. I'll give you one example, the project accounting system there. If you add those numbers off, it's about 28,000, where Kaufman Lynn was charging 3,000 for the project accounting system. Down a little further, solicitation of bids. CORC is charging almost $100,000 there to solicit bids, and Kaufman Lynn was charging 65,000. But if you go to the next page, right there, the other activities, that adds up to 219,000. Kaufman Lynn didn't have anything in there for those other activities. And if you look at them like constructability review, that's done during the review of the construction documents. Site logistics and phasing planning and procurement planning. I don't know why those are separated out, but my goodness, $219,000. They're showing the senior project manager, the full pre-construction time, he's spending 24 hours a week. The project manager is spending 16 hours a week, and the rest of it there. So it's just crazy. I know CORC, I think this is their first project with us, but this is setting a dangerous precedent. Why don't you just tell everybody we're going to pay you 1%? Why go through this trouble of getting the backup information, the hourly rates and the number of hours? Just one last comment, back to the percent of construction costs. The 1% or the 0.5% or whatever it is, the construction costs, as we know, in the last 3-5 years has increased mainly because of raw material costs. So I'm not sure why that gives the CM license to increase his fee when he's doing the same amount of work. It doesn't matter if concrete's $100 a yard or $200 a yard. That shouldn't affect the pre-construction fee, which is what we're doing here by giving them the 1% cost based on the GMP. It's just not right. I'll be voting no, a hard no, a definite no on this one.
I will say that part of the cost is, in addition to material escalation, is cost of salaries. When you look at hourly rates and across the industry, they've gone up substantially over the last few years. So when you compare West Boynton from 4 years ago now, there's a significant increase there and those other projects. But honestly, I felt the initial pre-con fee was probably pretty light the first time around. This has been a larger project, more complicated project, and we looked at it and felt like it was fair.
Somebody have a hand raised?
Bruce Alexander.
Bruce. Yes, hi, everybody. John, you may remember, given our couple of months together over the last decades, this is actually not the first time the question of the amount allocated for pre-con has come up. And one of the things we looked at historically was what was the contractor's fee carried under the contract post pre-con services? Because sometimes what we found, and it may not apply here at all, but sometimes what we found was that more was added on the pre-con side, but when you measured it up against the contract fee for the contract, and blended those dollars against the other bidders, it was in line. So I guess that I do not disagree with John's overall comments at all. Let's start with that. But my question is on the math. Do we have the ability to look at the other bidders
in relation to CORE, look at the fee that they carried for the underlying contract work, their contractor's fee, and measured that against CORE's fee to determine whether or not that there's the plane comes down for landing, and what CORE has done is allocated more to pre-con, but their overall fee, when measured with their pre-con fee, is in line with the other bidders' fees, even though their pre-con was lower on this and other projects that John talked about. So
Bruce,
just trying to figure it out, and thank you.
Bruce, we don't know what their fee is going to be yet on the construction services.
It'll help to set that, to Mr. Alexander's point, it will help to set that, that CORE will know that if their fee was deemed, their pre-construction fee was deemed higher than traditional, that their overall fee when the GMP comes through will be established.
Yeah, I guess
balanced against that.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think that only again, history is a good teacher. And what we did learn over, going to the 80s and 90s, honestly, when John and I did get to know one another, was that where we had our eyebrows raised on the pre-con dollars, that whether or not it was discussed with the bidder or whether we had the ability to be able to measure one bid against another competitor's bid, that the dollars softened and, as I said, came down for a soft landing. And when they didn't, we needed to understand why. Why was their pre-con so much higher than everybody else's? So I'm torn on this one. I think my instinct, given staff's recommendation, that they have looked at this and that they believe that it is reasoned and reasonable, that I do want to say that owing to that recommendation from staff and my general philosophy about the importance of placing extraordinary trust in the recommendations that we're receiving from staff, I will be voting yes on this. But if there's a way for CORE to be advised that, hey, look, we spent a lot of time on this item, and there were a lot of, at least not a lot, but there were certainly a couple of folks, and there may be others who want to jump in, because I think it's important that the record reflect, if others feel the same way, when someone goes to CORE, that they be able to express to CORE with reason and with truth that this was a matter of some concern, not only with respect to the amount that they're carrying for pre-con services and the percentage associated with that, but the concern about the precedent. And John, I share your concern about the precedent, because just like any group of folks, once word gets out and people see what pre-con amount was approved for CORE in relation to the estimated or GMP for the project, that we might see a recalibration of dollars, because let's face it, I mean, it's human nature. If you can get your money earlier, then we'd all like to do that. There's nothing wrong with pre-con services and being paid for pre-con services. They're in fact mandated and required in order to have a successful project. And having represented so many contractors, actually some of whom are in the conference room today, I understand that contractors need to be paid fairly and appropriately, so that not only can they build a beautiful project for the school district, but that they can remain in business and be thriving and active for the benefit of all of the employees and ownership and the benefit of those who will ultimately enjoy the product of their incredible construction and design related services, where we get into that world as well. So happy to answer any other questions, but thank you for letting me ramble on.
And I will say, if I may, just real quick, you're right, Mr. Alexander, and there is a member of Core Construction's team here, and I know that that message has been heard loud and clear, as I'm giving him the cold stare right now. Yes.
The question I've got, if as Bruce was talking about, let's say they're front ending the pre-con and their fee total comes in and it's still higher than we've used to see. Can we say bye-bye?
Of course, every negotiation is whether we can come to an agreement or not. So when we get to the GMP, we've done that in a couple projects where we haven't been able to negotiate a fair price, whether it be for fees or for cost of work. And we negotiate with the contractor. If we can't come to an agreement, then we move on to our contractor.
Is there a way that we can get some of the pre-con back or have that somehow as part of an agreement to say, no, we need to get some of that money back if you're not, we can't make a deal with you to build the project?
Well, I think what, the pre-con fee gets negotiated at this point and turns to a fixed fee for that scope of work. So,
So we probably wouldn't tell them bye-bye, you know, if their total fee came in too high because we've already spent $500,000 on them.
Yeah, and I would tend to agree with that statement. We are essentially saying we are committing to a contractor to make sure that they're doing the best that they can. That when they get that GMP together, that we know we pick them because they are the best or the best suited for this project, that they best do their darn well top-notch effort to get that price more reasonable. Everyone will say we don't have an interest in dispatching any contractor, not just a big one like this. We want when we select them, we want them to finish the job.
Because I mean, I would typically not vote for this one, except if we think that the total cost, as Bruce is talking about, of pre-con plus their actual fee comes in with what we're used to paying.
Yeah.
And not an inflated amount, because there's no need to have the inflated amount. Mike Whedon.
I'm not sure how the contract is worded, but is it, do they bill you hourly towards this fee, or just it's a fixed fee
based on milestones, basically.
for a 14-week effort?
No.
Everything says 14 weeks on the last pages to do all the GMP.
If you look at their line item,
That's close to $40,000 a week worth of effort.
No, it's closer.
Am I reading that wrong?
It does say 14 weeks, some say 2. But we're anticipating
For that
based on
portion of the activity, the actual services that they provide over the course of this project. And again, I don't want to speculate without knowing the details.
So is it?
It's not a 14-week pre-construction services. That's just the 14 weeks of those other activities. Forgive me, Ted, the pre-construction is not, we're not going to be done in 14 weeks because let's get started because we got 3 months to get going.
It's not a 14 weeks.
It's not 3 months to do pre-con. This project is going to take considerably longer through pre-con. And I don't know if it's written down somewhere on the schedule in this pre-con.
we have a design schedule. It's essentially almost a year, I believe it is.
But even this table shows there's design development, then there's 75% construction drawings.
Right.
You know, then there's, okay, so those are additional weeks.
Ms. Branch.
I just want to let you know I jumped on the call. I'm still at the breakfast, but I just want to let you know.
Okay.
We just handed out a whole bunch of money to our schools from the Golden Bell Chamber breakfast, which was millions, actually.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
You're going to be involved all through the design process.
Yes. We're the ones holding the architect's feet to the fire to say, we got a budget and you can't design it that way.
And to your question, Michael, you want to explain the fixed fee isn't like we just cut them a check at the beginning or something like that, right? It's
It's earned along the way.
earned, whether it be monthly or by those deadlines.
Still have to substantiate billing.
a certain percentage for pre-construction. So there are milestones.
But there's no substantiation of their time expenditure. It's just like after design development's done, they get paid for that section as a fixed fee.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on this? I need a motion then. Need a motion.
make a motion to have it moved forward.
All right, we got a motion by Mike Guida. I'm going to need a second.
Second.
Okay, by Franz.
Yes.
Any other discussion, comments?
I'm just trying to understand this, and maybe I can bring up some queries in this.
Yes.
Did we sign up for the changes in salary where it's been pointed out how much each member is going to make? Have we incurring their increases in salary over time? That would be one. And something that was brought up a couple of times, do we want to accept these type of precedents, like he said? Once we accept this and we sign off on it, future contracts are going to be set by this 1%, and they're going to argue that we accepted it this time and against, future projects of this 1%. And I see where they pointed out, and they talk about, it's been 0.6 and point this in the past and those kind of things for projects that are larger. So if we reach out and go over and say, we're going to accept this precedence, and then with these salaries, I mean, this is a snapshot of 14 weeks, right? What does it look like?
That was the extra $200,000. That's not the whole project.
So,
okay.
A couple of things there. So with the salaries, we have them present their actual salaries for the employees listed there.
Okay.
And it's auditable. So we can go back anytime we choose and do an audit of their company. And if there's a disagreement, then they would have to return money if it doesn't match it. Every time we do a new RFP, we do the current salaries of those employees on the project.
Okay.
So with regards to, what was the other item? Oh, the complexity of the project has a lot to do with the pre-con fees. A lot of the examples were ground up construction, a new construction where you have a clean site.
I can't hear. The video seems to be lost. Bruce, I think I saw your. Can anyone hear us in the conference room?
No, we cannot hear it.
It looks like the conference room was muted. I'm looking at the sideline, so their microphones may be off.
Thank you very much for pointing that out. Can you guys hear us now?
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. Thank you very much for giving us that heads up.
We're usually telling you guys you're muted. Now you're telling us you're muted.
Can anybody tell us where we left off? Were you guys, what you heard last?
You're talking about the salaries.
Okay.
Okay.
Michael was just getting started on his answer, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think part of it also was the complexity of the project as a potential justification for a larger percentage for pre-con.
Yeah, there's definitely an effect, some schools you don't have to phase, you don't have to stage, you don't have to have those unique programs that this project has. This has a lot of unique characteristics that's not typical of a Garcia High School or West Boynton or those new ground up projects that are pretty clean, frankly, from a pre-construction standpoint. So that is a factor when we negotiate these of how complex it is. So if we have another project with similar complexity, we'd expect a similar fee. If we have one with a lot less complexity, then it would be substantially less fee. As regards to the salaries, what I was saying that we expect the staff listed on the sheet, that's their actual salary with labor burden incorporated into that fee. We do have a right to audit any one of our projects at any time that we can go back and send an auditor and verify that information. So.
Ms. Branch?
Is that Ms. Branch?
Yep.
Ms. Branch?
Or was it?
I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you.
I must have didn't take it down. Sorry, I'm still at the breakfast. I'm sorry.
Mr. Cheshire, is that you?
Yeah, I just had another comment. Speaking of salaries, if you look at the rate per hour of the project executive for CORE, he's charging $241 an hour. Kaufman Lynn's project exec was charging $154 an hour. So if you're going to audit anything, I would suggest you audit the rate on the project exec, because that's I don't know anybody who makes $241 an hour.
Attorneys, no, they don't make, they make way more.
Maybe.
Way more,
No.
double that. Ouch. Double
Not
that.
me. I'm lower.
Okay, so we had a first and a second, and then they were other comments. Did you get your answers?
I got my answer, but I still think there ought to be some type of clause in here that if we accept the 1% that we audit, or is there, or?
No,
I don't.
I want to stress,
Okay.
there's no definitive explanation that we are taking 1%. We are
Okay.
giving, there is backup to support the value that happens to be in the range of 1%.
Okay.
It is not, yes, it might be a goal or somewhere in that range, but as Michael mentioned, the actual rate, if you take the rates of the employees times the services that they're providing over the duration, it comes up to a number. Is it in the 1% range? Okay, perhaps in some cases it might be less. But I don't want this to be a function of, well, you said you're all, because you had mentioned all contractors coming forward, we're setting a precedent. They're all going to say, I want 1%. No, you're going to prove to me how much you're doing and whether or not it's justified. So whether or not whether we're evaluating the rates that some of these folks are making, or even the durations that are listed for some of the scopes, that's our job. That's the job that we do when we evaluate, when we negotiate that pre-construction fee. So I don't want it to be viewed as strictly well, you're setting a precedent, it's 1%. No, that's our general realm of where we'd like it to be,
Right.
Not a mandate that you will give everybody 1% from here forward. Absolutely not. Okay. And I just wanted to make sure that was clear, that we're not giving anybody anything just because it's a percentage. Ms. Ferris.
Yes, based on what John Cheshire has pointed out, I really want to thank you, John. And based on the answers and what I'm hearing from everybody else, I'm still not satisfied. I think the points that John has made need to be made very strongly. So because of that, I'm going to vote no.
Okay, any other comments or questions? You've had a first and a second. Comment time, questions? It's now voting time, staff.
Bruce Alexander,
Yes.
David Porter,
Yes.
Franz Makabu,
Yes.
John Cheshire,
No.
Kevin Wilkinson, Lisa Revis, Michael Gelfand,
No.
Michael Guida,
Yes.
Tom Berger,
No.
Virginia Parrish,
No.
Christopher Tompkins,
No.
Kevin Wilkinson, Lisa Revis,
No.
okay,
Mr. Wilkinson, can you hear us?
Kevin Wilkinson, are you there? What does our vote count without him?
It is 6 no's and 4 yeses. And we're waiting on, we have one more.
So even if he voted,
Right,
it's not going
We're
to.
good. It's not going to pass. We just want to make
Fails.
sure we have accurate numbers on
Right.
who's voted on this.
No, let's give him 30 seconds.
Again, we'll
I'm calling Kevin's cell to see if I can get him.
okay.
Thank you.
He can type in an answer if
If he's having difficulty.
he's having
Yeah, that
difficulty
might-
with audio.
I saw his name come across with thumbs down.
Looks like a no to me.
Can I leave early today?
I think we have a quorum.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yeah, and your voting items.
I think we're all done. Yeah.
So,
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Michael.
Yeah, he has not responded, with all due respect to Mr. Wilkinson, he has not responded to a request 3 times. The vote will not change. We have, I believe we still have a quorum.
Move
I
on.
suggest that the vote be called and we move forward.
Yeah, I just wanted to share it that I left a voicemail message on Kevin's phone, and knowing Kevin for literally decades, I believe he was unduly called away. But I asked him to rejoin us as soon as he could. Thank you.
Okay, I think our vote is in and it failed.
Michael.
All right, that is it for our consent.
I think Michael raised his hand, I think.
Michael, you got your hand up?
Yes, if I may request that the item that I had requested be placed on the agenda be moved up. I have a 10:30 Florida Bar Executive Committee Board of Governors meeting to attend, and I'm not going to be able to stay on much longer. So if we can do that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Do you want to get the dissenting argument first?
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
Dissenting.
A summary of why they're dissenting.
Yeah, maybe Mr. Cheshire.
Oh, yeah, John Cheshire, can you give a brief reason for the dissenting opinion on the last vote?
Sure, obviously, the fee is too high, is much too high than what we feel is expected for the project and is normal among other projects and other CMs.
Thank you.
Pressure, I think also it may be appropriate to add that it's not just the total, but also the amount of time and the hourly rates.
Yeah, I agree to that. There was the hourly rate was high in at least one instance, and the number of hours per activity were high as well.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, this is Kevin Wilkinson.
Do we have to reopen the vote?
I don't think so.
It's irrelevant at this point.
Kevin, what was your vote for the last item?
My vote was yes. My apologies to all. I switched from my car speaker to my phone speaker, and in the transfer, I got messed up. So my vote would be yes on that, but I do apologize to everyone for delay.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
At this point, if you want to reorder, can we just continue? We don't have anything else to vote. So it's, that's the 5.
Oh, I have an old agenda.
Oh, that's right. The old agenda.
So good. So whatever it is, bring it up. So Michael can leave.
Okay, we are moving down to 5.01. It's an open discussion, a new item that Mr. Gelfand had brought to staff, and we wanted to present the opportunity for Mr. Gelfand to expand the conversation. Sir, if you'd like to go.
Without getting into the merits medically of the decision by the state's Surgeon General, State Surgeon General has announced that vaccine mandates by the state will be removed. I have concerns as to what this will mean in terms of our school facilities. We have seen in areas that have not had large or that have had a large amount of opt-outs that we've had epidemics of measles and mumps within the last 2 years, if not, further behind that. So what I'd like to do is ask staff to evaluate the impact that this is going to have on our facilities and the estimated expense. As further justification for this, speaking to a number of physicians that have family and pediatrician practices, they are looking at isolating waiting rooms in the same way that they did during COVID, and many of them still have for infectious disease patients, for example, where they have to stay in their car until they're actually called in to the medical offices to protect other patients. I'm looking at, one of our primary purposes, which is to protect the health and safety of our students as well as our staff. So, again, without getting into the nitty gritty, I'd like to hear from staff. And I don't know if this is a 30-day thing. It's probably going to take at least 60 days for an interim report as to what type of facilities are going to be necessary in our schools to address the difference between vaccinated and unvaccinated students and to protect safety. As a collateral matter, which probably is outside of CORC's purview, but is something that staff likely will want to look at, is what responsibilities does the district have, not just legally, but also as a moral or ethical perspective of notifying parents when you do have an outbreak among the students in the school, and what limitations there are on disclosing information and the best ways to do this. For those of you with young children, you're probably already going through the issues now of, asking parents before play dates, are your children vaccinated or not? This is going to be a bigger issue. And again, I'm not looking at this as to whether the Surgeon General is right or wrong, but to the extent that this is now going to be a mandate, I do not see waiting until the next school year at the last minute and reacting to this then, but we ought to be planning for it now. Thank you.
It's fresh.
Hi, we are planning for it now. We discussed it last night at the school board meeting. You're right, this is not in the scope of CORC, kind of stay in your lane kind of thing. I understand your worry about it, but we are, we talked about it last night. It's in our legislative priorities to keep the current vaccination that kids have to go to school.
Good to hear that. One of my concerns is that are we going to have impact on our facilities, which then comes back to us.
Right. Well,
see where it goes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Michael, I don't know if there's anything for staff to look at right now until the board kind of makes a final decision, since last night was the first time they talked about it.
I just looking at timelines and how fastly time moves on from a facilities perspective. And, I did note that the disclosure issues are, likely outside of our lane entirely, but for the impact on facilities, I'd hate to be here in May or June and trying to do catch up and doing whatever design needs to be done, recognizing we're already probably behind the 8 ball on this.
Okay. Mr. Sanchez.
Yeah, I was just going to add that the Surgeon General can't unilaterally change the law, and the law currently stands that the vaccines that are required to attend school, that those are currently in the law. So it would have to be changed by the legislation. There are some other vaccines, my understanding, that he could impact within the next 90 days or so. But not necessarily the ones that are the ones that are most critical for us to make sure that we don't have these problems in our schools. So I think we have time. I don't think that we have to rush to make a decision. We're going to obviously continue to watch this closely. And as Board Member Branch mentioned, we're going to lobby our legislators to make sure that the laws protect us and our students as best as possible. So I don't believe that again, I hopefully if the legislators do decide to vote to change the law, that they will give us an on-ramp so that we can figure this out and we respond to it as best as possible. I just want to make sure that the folks know that this is most of what we're concerned about in terms of our schools is written in law, and we don't. And then the Surgeon General can't on his own, or with the assistance of the governor, change it without changing the law. So I just want to make sure everybody knew those facts.
Michael.
Ms. Branch.
Oh, Ms. Branch, I'm sorry, you had your hand up?
That may be a carryover.
Yeah, Michael.
Do we keep track of numbers as to vaccine opt-outs?
We have that information, I'm sure, in a different department.
You know, it might be helpful to also take a look at how, because I'll just step back for a moment, noting how announcements such as the Surgeon General's prompt parents to do things. I would suggest that we keep track and we watch what type of numbers are changing with reference to vaccine opt-outs, and particularly if we have schools where we are reducing below the, what is it, the 95% amount. Again, I'm not a doctor, but you guys can determine what is a critical item with the health department. Thank you.
We do, this is Gloria. We do keep an eye on these things. We're on top of it, but thank you for your concern.
Okay, let's move on from that one. In progress work, staff updates.
Okay, from my perspective, again, I don't want the day to be lost. On this day, we honor the memory of those lost on September 11th and recognize the resilience and bravery and unity that defines us. Today, we pause to remember the lives lost on September 11th, 2001, and honor the courage of first responders, survivors, and all who carried us through that day. We will never forget the families and communities forever changed by 9/11, and we continue to stand with unity, resilience, and compassion. That's my message for today. I don't want that to be lost in all that's going on. At this point, I'll turn it over to Michael.
And thank you for that.
Yes.
Just a couple items. Just want to inform the CORC board that the district is moving away from Board Docs and Board Docs Lite. The same company that makes the product will be having a new software. It's expected to roll out in somewhere in December. That's really all I know at this point.
Yeah.
It's an IT managed process, and it'll be combined, so there will no longer be two separate softwares. It'll be one software. And again, I don't have any details other than that the IT is working on that.
Michael.
With reference to the new product, I presume, but having seen rollouts that have failed, that they will continue to utilize PDF formats for documents. But that's something I want to just have confirmed. And second, if there's a way to more easily handle the downloading of agenda items.
Yep.
I know that they are big and bulky, but going through one by one is time consuming. I do not know if there's a better way of handling it, if some type of equivalent zip file or downloading in sequence, or just marking them all at once would be better. But I'd ask that whoever's handling that they look at it to facilitate our accessing the agenda items. Thank you.
And as Michael said, we don't know much about it, but thank you very much, Mr. Gelfman. Those are some of the comments that we've been tallying all along to make sure that those people that are running it do know our concerns. Because as well, you as members, we also on staff level, if you only knew the tortures that we have with the current operating system, it fails on a regular basis and causes us problems. So we are trying to get all of those items lined up. So I'm glad you mentioned some of the access concerns, PDFs. And I also want to make sure that we are going to express to IT that they need to have a backup plan, meaning when they do roll it out, our CORC meetings will not cease because the software isn't operating the way we need it. So we need to be able to have some sort of backup system, whether it's we still have Google Meet and we still have the ability to convey the information to you as CORC members so that you can make fair and reasonable assessments of all the items. We will make sure that that is incorporated.
Michael, you got your hand up.
my software experience bringing on new large scale systems is that you keep the old system up. It does take extra time and money to have parallel systems, but it helps you avoid those problems first. Second, um, I'm hearing that the customer, if you would, the folks that are using this, are not part of the evaluation process before it actually goes live. And I would hope that this department would be involved, and perhaps some of the members of CORC and the other committees be part of the beta testing, presumably that there's beta testing, so that these types of kinks are identified and removed before it goes live. Thank you.
Acknowledged. Okay, staff updates. Anything else?
No, that's it. No.
Okay, so we got in progress work.
Okay, I'm going to zip through this. Dorothy, or who, I'm sorry, I keep saying it, Dorothy. David, my apologies. Zipping on through it. Go ahead. I'll try to keep up with you. All right, so there's our updated numbers. Continuing on, there's our traditional monthly analysis of upcoming projects. You'll notice in this next one, we've got a number of them in red. That means they're all the smaller projects that are being distributed through our CCNA process. Next, development activities. There were a number of items on here that I certainly want to make sure people are aware of. You'll see the transportation facilities. I've been hearing from a lot of the contractors and architects. They're interested in knowing when these projects are coming forward. You'll be able to see all that information. Again, I always remind everybody, if you're watching or listening and you don't know what this is all about, this file is on board docs. It's on the public website. So go ahead, continue on. Okay, we're now on to the facility renewals. I've got 28, I got updates from 28 facility renewal projects that are ongoing. Just keep going. There's 4 or 5 pages of that. 6, 7 pages of it. Okay, some of our photos. Again, I welcome you to take a look at them. A lot of these are the traditional facility renewal works that we're performing. Go ahead. Okay, now we're on to our new school. Saddleview Elementary has opened. Yay. Excellent, excellent work by the team. It's a wonderful facility. And as I think you had mentioned, we are learning from it. We anticipate that in the very near future, we're going to start having our lessons learned get-togethers with staff, with our consultants and our contractors, with the school staff, to find out things that they wish we could make sure we incorporate into that next school in Westlake, which is looking to get going there. So, beautiful photos of that.
Nice. Pretty.
And you'll notice the park there's a future park right north of that, a photo right there. They'll be building into. Okay, next up. Keep going. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, these are good interior pictures. And so again, I apologize. I'm zipping through. Winbrook, also modernized school, opened up in August. Also, another great job. Challenging, as we said, about timing, making sure we get everything taken care of. School's well built and a great project. Go ahead, scroll on through those. Kind of see some of the existing buildings renovated and new buildings on top of that. West Riviera, I mentioned that this project is one that will open up next August. So we're obviously well into construction, as you'll see from the photos. More work to be done, but we anticipate, I want to say this is springtime, that this project will be completed. I'll say early spring, but maybe springtime when we will be complete. Okay. South Intensive. what is now referred to as the Rise Academy. That's one of the comments that was made earlier about building 2, moving the electric from building, moving the infrastructure from building 1 into building 2. That project is well underway. I don't remember exactly the completion date of this. But there is what we're referring to. That is building 2. And just to the top of that, not shown in this photo, is building 1. And that's where the services are being rerouted from back in to serve this building. And as you'll notice on the right-hand side of that photo are the portables in which the students are currently residing, and we need to move them out, give them that high quality environment, learning environment inside that existing building.
Will the portables still be needed once you move them in?
It will not be.
They'll get moved out somewhere.
They'll actually be demoed.
Oh,
There.
are they wooden portables?
I think there's some wooden portables. Yeah, I think they're, and those that are concretables, we've got opportunities to reallocate them.
Yeah.
They will not stay on that site, will not be for that. I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, excellent. Keep rolling those photos. Okay, Historic Roosevelt. That project is, again, I want to say early spring, anticipated completion. You'll notice that there's the discrepancy, and we've talked about it in our meeting already, about the timing, that some of the work is well on path to being done very soon. And the gymnasium is the part that's lagging behind. But that work is proceeding, and we anticipate we will be done in the springtime. Go ahead. You notice that's the 3 buildings. The 2 buildings on the left with the white roofs are the new building and the lab space. And then you can see from on the right is the gymnasium without a roof. That's the work that's still ongoing. And there's the rest of the campus, as you'll see the old historically significant campus. That will be our phase 2 project. Okay. There's our new building there. Okay, Village Academy Kitchen project. That project is just kicking off. That is actually an expansion to the existing kitchen inside that facility. So sadly, the photos are not all that impressive because it's just getting started. But you can see where the work we're heading out. Okay. David and Marquise have quite a number of different projects ongoing. I'm not going to go through all of them in great detail, but there's some photos of our media center projects that are ongoing. Some of the digital marquees, the stair project, Jaeger Middle. Yes, Virginia.
Yes, I understand that there is enrollment decrease. I think I read in the paper it's over 3%. There's some transferring around of teachers and students. What impact is this going to have on our facilities? I remember asking last year if we're monitoring what's happening in Broward and how some facilities have to be closed in Broward, and what impact this is going to have on our plans going forward, especially, at this point on the portables. Are we getting rid of more portables at schools? What's the planning process going forward?
Okay. Well, I would normally answer this, but I see that Mr. Sanchez lit up. So I assume you're may want to feed in.
Well, I want to say 1 year does not make a trend, right? So let's not change everything because of 1 year's results, right? So no, we're not planning on making any drastic changes right now. We're still planning on building the school in Westlake, the new elementary school. There is a high school that's planned for the Loxahatchee area. We'll see what happens with that in the future. I mean, as we always do, we monitor enrollments, whether it was this year or a different year. We monitor enrollments to see, if schools need to move up or move back or whatever the case may be. So that's, that we'll see what happens with that one. But as far as the Westlake school, that's still going forward. It's way too early to talk about doing anything different with our existing schools. I mean, Broward's been experiencing loss of students for several years, and that's why they're at the position that they're at. We're not having those conversations that Broward is having at this point. We have modular buildings that we own, modular classroom buildings that we own, and some of them are empty now, and some of them will remain empty. But there's no plans to, we'll shift them around based upon need, because, as the case with other large counties, you have growth in some areas and declining enrollments in others. So it may be possible that we may need to move modulars to accommodate some growth in different areas. So we'll keep an eye on that too. But I don't want to raise the panic, because like I said, it's 1 year's data.
Correct.
Thank you, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. That was going to be my primary message was, yeah, we're monitoring, and we'll see as we go, but we're not in a dire situation at this moment. So.
Question I had on the CCNA process, Barbara and Dave. How long ago was that? Is that up for renewal for another selection? Or how many years?
Yeah, if we renew it, we'll be renewing in April and May. The architect and the CMARs, if it's renewed, and it has 1 more year left on it.
Okay. And to that end, so that I can, she's staring me down because she knows I need to give the answer. We are considering many different alternatives as to how we're going to proceed, because right now, as many of you CORC members can appreciate, we did get that passed in November, and our focus, I mean, I don't get to see Michael much anymore because he's so busy meeting with staff and trying to come up with the major plans as to how we're going to implement the next 10 years of that referendum, which not only of course, you all may remember, it's all planned. Half of it is planned maintenance, but there's also a lot of improvements, whether it be choice programs or athletics or any number of different renovation type of improvements. We have to figure out how we're going to implement all this work over the next 10 years. So we need to make sure we have the right staffing levels. We need to make sure we have the money in the right places. We're working with Ms. Evans and our entire capital program, and whether or not we have the right vendors for the amount of work and the types of work we're going to have, how we're going to package it. So all that stuff is ongoing. So while I say yes, we're certainly going to be looking at continuing the CCNA process. How it looks all remains to be seen. We'll have more in coming days.
Yeah, I guess my question was, we've now had it for 3 or 4 years. It has been successful, I assume, and there's no contractor out there squealing that they're not getting handed enough projects. Okay.
Feedback. Go ahead.
It's a handout process in terms of who can handle the job.
It has been successful early on. The types of projects that we have now coming out are a little bit more challenging, and we are making some adjustments now because the projects have changed a bit.
Mm-hmm. And there's a little less interest from some of the CCNA selected people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you may recall, our current referendum, the 2016 referendum, we started off with the schools in most need, which meant that those projects, facility renewal projects, were higher dollar values. Now, as we're getting to the end of the program, they are much smaller. And so we're now trying to come up with different ways to make sure that those vendors, it's worth their while, whether it's architects or contractors. And we recognize that is a challenge, but we're also looking towards the future, make sure that we accommodate those concerns on the next round, whatever that might be.
We did have a follow-up. I don't know if there's anything on here to discuss. John Cheshire.
Yeah, I like to discuss all 3 items, actually.
Yes. Okay.
The first one talks about changes to policies that will be provided to CORC. How many policy revisions are we going to have to review?
Let me clarify. Remember the 3 that were on previously? Two of them aren't changing. The third one is certainly changing, and we'll bring that back with a couple other ones. And I thank you very much for Mr. Cheshire for kind of leading in on this one. We have a focused timeline. We are meeting with, we anticipate we are meeting with leadership to go through all the changes. And for those of you who are not familiar, some of the other policies that are going to come out this next month have to do with the state statute change for the 35-day change order. So we will be bringing back suggested policy adjustments. We're going to leadership first, and then we will bring them back to you next month. And hope I don't step on Michael's toes, but while we meet on October 9th, we would anticipate that we will submit to CORC members the information ahead of time, at least about a week ahead of time, so that you'll have the chance to review them independently and not get stuck with them sitting at this meeting and having that first blush at a meeting.
Yeah, the reason I asked, I just wanted to make sure a week is enough time for us to review them. If there's only 3 of them, that'll probably work out good then.
And I'm certain we're going to make sure that it's not just, we just dump a whole bunch of paperwork on you. There's going to be, I guess, like a narrative, an explanation, a summary, executive summary of what changes happened. You'll of course see the red lines. You could read them yourselves, but we'll at least give a summary, a bullet summary of those critical components of how things are changing. So we're not going to leave you high and dry and just say, hope you can figure it out. We know that it's an extensive, my apologies. So October 9th, we come to you, and willing, we anticipate that the November board meeting the November
If I could
workshop?
if I could just jump in, just to provide some additional information. When Mr. Dolan says leadership, the suggested options that for the various policies will be presented to the superintendent and leadership. They will have an opportunity to review, and ultimately what will come to CORC on November 9th will be versions of the policy that the superintendent is intending to recommend to the board. There will be a workshop on November 5th, and that is open to the public. So in the event that anyone here had any additional information that they wanted their board member to know, number one, they can reach out to the board members, but number two, they can come and speak at the workshop, which again is going to be November 5th at the Fulton Holland Center.
So will there be an actual CORC meeting of reviewing the policy that means anything?
October 9th.
Yeah, that will be your opportunity, but I just wanted to clarify that the policies that you will be looking at will have the support of the superintendent.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Holly. That's exactly right. When we presented to you on October 2nd, let's say, they will have already been through the superintendent and leadership with some level of approval recommendation before us. You'll see them, your feedback, and then as you mentioned, as Holly mentioned, you may see it October 9th, and we may all sit here and discuss and debate. However, you'll also have the opportunity in the beginning of November at the workshop, in addition to talking to your individual board members.
So once CORC reviews it, if we have some extra red lines that we feel strongly about, how do they get heard by anybody that matters?
Then you would contact your board member or a board member. Obviously, your opportunity to discuss it amongst CORC member is limited to here at the publicly noticed meeting under Florida law. In the event that you want to have your comments heard and you want it by the whole board, then I would recommend that in addition to, reaching out beforehand, you can also go to the workshop and sign up for public comment. And that would be your opportunity to say, this change I like, or I don't like, or here's my idea of, whatever it is. But that's really the whole purpose of the workshop, is to let everybody that wants to comment and wants the board to hear those comments. That's your opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
So our comments at the October 9th CORC meeting aren't going to be recorded and provided to anybody? We have to go to another meeting and do it individually? I think that's what I
No,
heard.
they are recorded. They're put up on YouTube. So again, if it's something that, I don't control the board members, what they do. But if however you felt that the board members should review the YouTube, that's certainly something you can communicate to any of the board members. Say, hey, I think you should look at the YouTube video that captures everything that goes on here.
Yeah,
So-
this is very different than we've done it before because we reviewed the policies here. It would then go to the board.
Yeah.
Part of the report,
Well,
just like we
regular board, this, not the workshop.
And yeah, you'll see, there will still be meeting minutes that go to the board. So the discussion when we have next month, there'll be meeting minutes that explain what was discussed and, presumably the meeting notes will identify positions, just varying positions on these policies.
Okay.
And I think to provide a little bit of additional context is the fact that because of a new state law that went into effect July 1, it has truncated the normal process that CORC, I've been on CORC for a while, and I do recall that when Mr. Kennard would bring policies to you, he would bring them to you prior to taking them to the superintendent. Unfortunately, because this law now requires approval or denial within 35 days, and that goes into effect it went into effect July 1. All of the, contracts that have been approved by CORC last month and this month now all fall under that new change order policy. So unfortunately, the law is what has required the district to respond much more quickly to update the policies.
All right. John, you have something else on follow-up?
Yeah, number two, any update on local preference procedures?
Sure. So Dave and I talked about schedule. So we, obviously since the early part of this year, things were kind of in a turmoil with, DEI and all that kind of stuff. We had to revoke and revise some policies, but it also gave me the opportunity to talk to some board members and also some folks in the industry. And so I want to come back at the November meeting. You're going to be pretty busy in October talking about those policies we just talked about. But November, I'd like to come in person and have give you guys some feedback based upon what I've heard back from our elected officials as well as the industry people, and we can go from there.
Okay, thank you. On item number 3, PC5, that was from the August meeting. Mentioned that Morgani did not list the names of their personnel on the GMP. So Exhibit D was provided to us. Can we go to Exhibit D, the next page? It says they've listed the names, but I just want to, a little confused there, like the senior project manager, there's no name and there's no hours worked per week. Not sure why he's listed. The same thing with his assistant project manager and the general superintendent. There's no hours per week listed, but the one for Cooper, the superintendent, is still to be determined. So we don't know who that is, even though construction's probably already started, right?
No, so this is for pre-con services. So those 3 positions that are listed as 0 won't be used during this initial phase. And then the Cooper superintendent, they're working on, they have a couple options based on who's coming off of some project and who has availability. So they're working on deciding who that is at this point.
This isn't pre-construction, this is construction services, Michael.
This was wasn't this pre-con?
I thought it was pre-con.
It says construction phase services fee summary. Fee is $532,000.
Oh yeah, you're right. I have this one confused. There's the Moss woman. It was pre-con, wasn't it? Okay. So the answer is still similar. The positions that are listed 0 is their standard template that they're not using. And the Cooper superintendent is not selected yet. But they have not started construction yet.
Okay, well, that was the point I brought up during the review of the GMP, that how can we approve a GMP? We don't know if the personnel are the same ones that They presented to us during the proposal, so my comment there still stands. And if we look at the next one, PC7, that was the pre-construction services. I'm confused there. So they're showing the letter of intent for the SBEs. That adds up to another 42,000. So are they adding that to their pre-construction services fee?
No, that was included in their fee already. They just split out those numbers as separate items. Their total remains the same.
Well, then they should have redone the pre-construction fee breakdown because it did not list these people on there. So how do we know what work they're doing? It doesn't say what they're going to be doing.
We can provide that to you. We're just showing you that the question came up that whether they would have the SBE involved with pre-construction, and this is the amount of time that they're using for them. So we can, want a revised schedule, we can get that for you.
I would like that, please. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, any other questions on follow-up? Right, approval of minutes. Anyone with issues on the minutes?
The agenda.
Hearing none, the minutes are.
Right, but just a few spelling corrections.
I knew that was coming.
Okay, so you know what they are. I'm vital, I'm virtual, all right? All right.
So,
Yeah,
do we need a motion?
Visual. Other than that, they're good. They're very good, in fact. They covered the discussions very well.
So is that considered a revision that we need a motion on?
No.
Okay, good. Minutes are accepted with the one typo correction.
There's a few in there, but no catch those. Those are Scrivener's errors. That's
Okay.
what it's called.
All right. Any other items by CORC members to discuss? And let's see, next meeting is October 9th. It's on your agenda. Or your schedules have that listed. And last call for anything else. All right, then, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, have a great day.